and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everyone. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Anthony Hartwig alongside Richie Giuliano. And Rich, how we doing today on this wonderful Wednesday?
Doing good. I mean, I finally got my license plate, so I can finally drive again, which is nice. For some reason, this chair is raised up high. I don't know who was sitting in here, but yeah,
we were having like not only is it high, it's covered in dog hair.
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
Whoever was here is this.
Somebody. I don't know.
It's cramping Richie's vibe.
I don't even want to know at this point.
You just gotta spray with disinfectant and then just move on with your life. So yeah, it was great late last night, Richie. I know we had our live interviews at Ysn and Legends, and that was fun. We also had tournament time, kind of kick off. All the sports are underway with tournament now.
Mhm.
Soccer kind of started over the weekend with girls soccer. Boys soccer started on Monday and Tuesday, and last night volleyball got underway. So now all of our sports except for football are officially in postseason.
That's right, and we're about to be there for football.
I
One more
know,
week,
one
week
more
10
week.
already. You can kind of feel the effects of the weather in northeastern Ohio waking up. You know, I've got a couple buddies up on the lake there in Cleveland. They have some snow in their front yard.
No.
You know, I was happy to wake up and see I had no snow on my windshield or anything. So that was a good start to the morning, although it is starting to get cold. It's that postseason feeling, I guess you could say, when you walk out and, you know, it's dewy, it's 40 degrees, it's chilly with the wind blowing in your face. So, you know, we're getting there when you feel these temperatures in northeastern Ohio.
Despite that, according to Storm Tracker 21 on Friday, it's actually supposed to get up to 64.
There we
Of
go.
a little bit of a heat wave for week 10.
I love to see that.
As you know, summer and fall has its kind of last gasp this weekend before we hit winter weather. But actually, like, you look at it, Monday 73. You know,
I mean,
woo!
you know, I can't complain about the fall football weather that we've had this season.
No, have we even had like a really rainy day?
No, there
A rainy
hasn't
game
been.
day?
There really hasn't been much outside a couple Saturdays that were a little bit rainy.
Right.
Some Saturdays we did have high school football around this area. Others we didn't, just depending on, you know, Valley Christian or if Mooney was home or not.
Mhm.
But overall, since the season started a little bit earlier than normal,
Mhm.
the temperatures were beautiful the first 5 weeks of the season.
Right.
It was hot, it was warm. You know, it started to get a little bit chilly during week 7, but it really wasn't bad on Friday nights. Like, there wasn't a game so far where I've stood in the box and I was just like, I need to turn on the heat because I'm freezing. Like, usually around week 7, week 8, I'm just like frozen. But, you know, so far this year, we haven't had that.
If you told football fans week 10 it would be 64 degrees.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah, they would
Middle
think
of
we're in
October,
Arizona.
actually towards the end of October, you know, we're sitting at 64 as a high.
Mhm.
Probably a little bit below that for kickoff when the sun starts going down. Maybe it'll dip into the 50s, but
Yes,
a lot better than 30s and snow.
that's right.
That
Oh,
just
yeah.
means we're gonna get hammered for playoffs. It's just how
Yeah,
the
week
universe
3 of
works.
playoffs is probably going to be a monsoon.
Right. Monsoon with snow and sleet.
Yep, brutal.
And we're gonna have a sideline reporter.
That's why they
In
always
the
play
elements.
on turf, right? Usually the regional semis by the third round is usually played on turf at some neutral
You
location.
got to almost,
Yeah.
you know, at that point when the weather that bad, can you imagine frozen grass?
No,
on
they
the playoffs.
they would have to move it. They would you know, that's an advantage now that Rain Stadium has
Mhm.
to where they could almost host a lot of playoff games because of that new turf they just put in this year. So there's a couple stadiums
A
around
lot of
this
teams
area.
got new turf this year.
Yeah, there's a ton. I
Over the
mean,
last couple
everybody's going to
years.
turf.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's been broadened out this year. Liverpool broadened out this year. Middle Ridge broadened out last year.
Edison's fairly new.
Last year, Edison's fairly new. I mean, a lot of teams are just saying, hey, We got to have the turf. Not only does it help football, we've talked about this before, it helps every outdoor sport because when you can't practice on the baseball field or the softball field, where do you go to practice? Right to the turf. We've seen games in the early spring when it's still snowing. Can't play on the softball field or baseball field.
Play the game on their turf.
I think they play all their home games on the turf, actually. I don't think Campbell has a softball field. I think they play their games on the football field.
Yeah.
But we've seen games even with teams that have a softball or baseball field. Hey, our field's not usable. Let's just put bases in a portable fence on the football field. Let's go. Whatever it takes.
I mean, why not?
Snowbanks on the first baseline.
And you know what kills a lot of like the spring sports? I know we're far away from that is the rain. Last year, how many games got canceled? It was like 8 to 9 per season.
We were in panic mode, but meteorologists did like, hey, this is an anomaly. Let's not freak out. Like it rained more than it had rained in any spring to recent memory last year. So
horrible.
Hopefully this nice little long fall doesn't equal a short and terrible spring.
Well, I've heard the winter is going to be bad, and I heard, spring obviously is probably going to clean up after that. But I heard the winter is going to be pretty bad because of how nice it's been so far. I mean, we're already October 19th.
Does the universe balance everything out?
Oh, it has to.
All right, let's get into some of the results from last night. As we said, it is tournament time. We'll start with volleyball. We'll go into South Range, who traveled to Columbiana. This is going to be one of the upsets of the night, as the Raiders got the win in Columbiana. 11 seed South Range beats the 9 seed Columbiana Clippers in 4 sets. Your set scores were 25-16, 25-18. Columbiana won the third set to stay alive, 25-16, but then South Range wrapped it up with a big 25-10 emphatic win in set 4 to make sure it did not go 5 sets. It was Olivia Mealy in the middle that dominated for the Raiders on offense. 13 kills for her. She also had 3 blocks on the night. Maria Primavera, usually known for her offense, had 31 digs on the night. She did have 9 kills. So she was 1 kill away from a double-double. And then you had Jamie Farron, who led that 6-2 offense with a double-double, 20 assists, 20 digs for her. And she had a pair of aces as well. For the Clippers, Ellie Jackson led them. She had 8 kills on the night. She had a double-double with the other stats with 27 digs and 14 assists. Kelsey Cameron, who is a name that we don't really see too often on the Clippers stat sheet, had 7 kills for Columbiana, and she had 12 digs as well. Ava Heinrich, who is their leader in kills, was held to just 6, and she acquired 23 digs to go along with it. So a lot of digs putting on that back row of the Columbiana offense. Obviously, you look at these dig numbers for Columbiana, and there are some that aren't even in the article on YSN. They're on the stat sheet that everyone had 8-7 digs, which means South Range was getting through the net and putting a lot of pressure on the Clippers back row.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they did a nice job last night, taking control early and often. Obviously, 25-16, winning that first set is big in a playoff atmosphere. When you're the lower seed going to Columbiana, and then they come out, they take care of business in set 2. So you kind of feel that advantage after 2 sets. Columbiana able to chip away, get one back in set 3, but then it was all South Range in that 4th and final set, beat them up pretty big by 15 points.
Yeah, so, I think the Clippers' lack of blocking is what really hurt them. Obviously, you see that the Raiders' middle, and Mealy was the one that did the most damage on offense with 13 kills. So, all season, Columbiana had been relying on their defense with digs, and then their offense, of course, getting in the system on really good passes. The Raiders took full advantage of the fact that there wasn't a lot of net defense on the Clippers' side. They were able to go to the middle, which means they were passing pretty well. If your middle has 13 kills, means you're probably in system a lot. So Jamie Farron did a really good job getting it to her, and the Raiders' defense did a good job. Gianna Pasquale, the libero back there, passing really well for the Raiders. And obviously, when you're in system and you're going up a team with no block, I should say not no block. No team has no block. When you're going up against a team that
not
struggles getting into the net presence, then and you get your middle involved, that's good news for the Raiders.
Yeah, you're toast. I think there's a lot of teams. Lakeview is one that presents a middle that's been challenging with Lytle all season long. When you got a middle like that and you don't have anybody else to block her, I mean, you're toast. West Branch has a great middle. And we're going to talk to one of their players a little bit later.
Yep.
Probably going to bring up a question, how much that helps, bring a little bit of relief off the outside when you have, such a good middle like that. But when you look at South Range, they're going to play a Leavittsburg-LeBray team tomorrow, Thursday night at 6 o'clock. They got a chance to make it to the district semifinal. Of course, Mentor Lake Catholics on that side of the bracket in division number 3 in the Medina district there, where everybody kind of stayed away from. But, I think if South Range can get 2 wins here in the tournament, I think that's almost like a win. Moral victory.
Oh yeah, especially they've definitely had an up and down season in their own right. So if they can get 2 wins in the tournament and get themselves into that district semifinal, a definitely morale boost for South Range. That game is going to be at 6 tomorrow, and you're looking at the volleyball brackets. I expected the host seeds to be the first game in all these double teams, double game hosts, but in every single one of them, the host team is the 7:30 game. Probably gives it they can get there early and watch the other team before they play, instead of having to stay after they play. I guess that's one advantage. I think either way you'd stay and watch the team behind you, because obviously that's who you're going to play next. But maybe coaches are of the mindset that they would rather watch before and then get ready to play than to have to play a game and then tell their kids, hey, you have to stay after for an hour and a half after you just played to watch and scout this team.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit surprised too because of travel time. You would think, maybe they would get LeBray and South Range an opportunity to get there and then play at 7:30, so they're not rushing to get there after school because it's a 6:00 start. But maybe on the opposite side of that, on the flip side of the coin, is they want to get LeBray and South Range home in time for school the next day. When you think about it,
well, it's a catch-22. You either have to leave late to get there in time to be comfortable and not rush there, or you're getting home late. There's no two ways. You can't make both those sides of the coin.
And when I look at this matchup, and I think there's one thing that South Range is going to have to stop, and that's
Riley McDonough,
who's got 226 kills, which is over 100 more than anybody on that LeBray team. So if they're able to, kind of key in on one player, I think they've got a good chance to come out victorious tomorrow night.
I think this was the matchup in last year's tournament as well between LeBray and South Range, but a very different LeBray team. They had Summer Pumphrey graduate. They lost Bree Daniels as well. A lot of players that graduated from that LeBray team this year, really focusing on Riley McDonough and making sure that she's the one that gets their offense going.
And South Range lost in 5 sets to LeBray last year. And then, the Vikings were able to move on, beat Rootstown, and then, unfortunately dropped to Kirtland in 3 straight sets. But, they're trying to build some momentum again. And it's kind of funny that they get to play the Raiders second year in a row in the playoffs.
Revenge on the mind for the Raiders as they go into – actually, last year was in LeBray. This year they don't have to go to LeBray's home gym. It'll be on a neutral site at Mentor Lake Catholic. Tomorrow night, 6:00, Raiders versus LeBray. It should be a fun one. We'll have a recap for you on ysnlive.com. Tomorrow also on Running Point, you're going to be able to hear an interview with TJ Irons. Going to record him tonight, and he'll be able to talk about this win and the Raiders season as a whole and what the Raiders have to look forward to against LeBray tomorrow. So that'll be exciting as we'll have that coverage for you tomorrow as we continue into some more volleyball recaps. As Jackson Milton was able to get the home victory. Opening round thriller against Heartland Christian. Gave him a fight. 5 sets this one went. But Jackson Milton was able to get the victory on the day.
Yeah, Jackson Milton pulls off a tough one, in 5 sets, like you said. 15-9 was the final. They fell behind early, lost the first one big by 10 points. So Heartland Christian came out, who was 3 seeds behind Jackson Milton, that hosted on the 18th. So that was last night. And then Jackson Milton lost set number 3. So they were down. They were down to their final set there. Number 4 came out. They contributed, and they were able to kind of use some of their better players. I know Paige Grope had 28 assists. She was one of our Baird Brothers Big Dogs of the Valley a couple weeks ago. Len added 8 kills. And, it's kind of a balanced attack from the Blue Jays, you could say. There wasn't one player that had a lot of points. So overall, it's kind of that team effort to come back and contribute to a comeback victory in 5 sets.
Yeah, and Emily Folt's serve was a difference maker too. 16 service points, 5 aces on the night for her. And when you look at it, 16 service points in one match, that's over a half of a set worth of service points. That means you're really doing a good job. If you're not getting an ace, you're doing your job and getting the other team out of system.
Well, that just tells you there's some long rallies there with her behind the service line when you look at that, because you said 16 service points and 5 aces So that tells you every time that Emily Fultz was behind the line, they were probably getting at least 4 or 5 points every time she was serving.
And get this, it wasn't just her because her teammate Haley Chmelka, 13 service points and 5 aces as well. So obviously Heartland Christian, their serve receive was one thing that did them in.
Yeah, that lost them the match. When you look at that, those numbers are, kind of eye-opening. 16 service points for one, 13 for another. That loses you a match for sure.
And then when you look at the offense, it was Mia Greco, 16 kills and 9 solo blocks for Mia Greco. And I am told that she is one of the top blockers in the state as far as the statistics go. And 9 blocks in one match is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You don't see that every day. And then to add 16 kills along with it. You already said that Paige Grope, she had 28 assists. She is continuing her impressive season and career where she is the only Blue Jay to get to 1,000 career assists. She did that earlier in the season. And then Elena Len had 8 kills as well for the Blue Jays. Grace Johns, the impressive sophomore libero, great defense by her, 25 digs on the night. And the Blue Jays will now return home on Thursday to take on Sebring in the sectional final with a start time at 6 o'clock.
You mentioned Greco being one of the best blockers in the state, 140. I just looked up the numbers total. 99 out of the 140 are solo.
And I don't know if you've got a chance to see Jackson Milton yet this year. She doesn't look like a dominant middle. Looks can be deceiving. She's not 6'5", with a giant wingspan. She's just athletic and she times it perfectly.
Yeah.
It's really fun to watch her work because she makes up for her size.
Yeah.
And she's not small. She's a middle blocker, but she's not like I said, she's not like a 6'5", 40-inch wingspan, can stand there and block. She's not like one of those. She definitely makes up for her a little bit lack of size with definitely great blocking fundamentals.
Yeah, that's what you got to be. You got to be fundamental and quick. I think quickness is the big thing. And I think that contributes to the 99 solo blocks that she has. She's able to move from side to side. And,
exactly.
That shows you a lot.
Exactly. Because obviously you want that middle to move. But if she can, that kind of ruins the game plan. We will go into Lakeview. The first game of the night went to Poland as they beat Mooney. It's a sweep, Richie, but it's very contested sweep.
I saw this last night.
26-24, 25-23, 26-24. Poland was just able to get the clutch points in each set and get the sweep.
Yeah, to come out, play a gritty game against Mooney, a team who they knew was going to play them tough. You see Mooney, they're pretty solid this year. Extra points in the first set, extra points to replicate that carbon copy in set number 3, and then 25-23 in set number 2. So every single set they played was big. And I think down the stretch, they leaned on experience. They have a lot of experienced players. When you look at Forsyth, who's our reigning Baird Brothers big dog of the Valley, what she did in the last week and continuing that trend into what she did last night for Poland. You got D'Angelo, another player on the outside, Katie McDonald in the middle, who's been playing volleyball for a long time. So when you have those more experienced players, you lean on them, late in sets when you get past the 20th point. And I think that's one of the reasons why Poland was able to come out victorious in all 3 very tight sets.
Yeah, and Mooney, you could say Mooney has some seniors too if you look at their roster. But remember, this is a conversation we had with Coach Shaheen way back at the beginning of the season. There's seniors that were stepping into new spots on the floor because it was such a big senior group last year that there were juniors that were either not on the varsity floor or played different positions.
Yes.
Big example, Addison Stacy did a great job setting this year, but it was her first year as a varsity setter because Angelina Rotuno kind of held on to that spot for her 4 years of her career. So she steps in as a senior, but first year's varsity setter. So the senior leadership is there, maybe not the varsity experience in a tournament atmosphere.
You're exactly right. And Poland's got that experience in a tournament atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Now, when we look to tomorrow in the matchup at 7:30,
it's third shot at Lakeview.
Third shot. Now, they haven't won a set against Lakeview. They've been swept 6-0 in 2 matches. So they're coming in with a little chip on their shoulder. And, this is a team that Lakeview is very familiar with. They've had a lot of success with. Probably going to have the same game plan. And Lakeview coming off of a sweep as well, which we'll talk about a little bit later. This is a team that's kind of clicking on all cylinders right now. So, it's going to take a lot for Poland. They're almost going to have to play very clean volleyball in that first set. And I think the key to tomorrow's matchup is Poland coming out and, getting a big upset in set number one because they haven't won one yet this year against Lakeview.
Richie, we talk about trap games, and we're going to talk about this Lakeview game a little bit later when we talk about the result, but talk about a lot in football. This could sneakily be one for the Bulldogs because they're looking ahead to seeing Crestview's on the other side of that line. And if they win, Crestview wins. It's a Crestview Lakeview district semifinal, which would be hyped up. Everyone would be excited about it. But you got to take care of business in the sectionals first before you get there.
And you can't overlook Sarah Forsyth, who does both things on the court.
Hot right now.
Very good on the outside. I mean, she's had double-digit kills in 3 out of the last 4 of her matches. Mm-hmm. She also is a very good setter when Morgan Bailey exits. So she could do both. She could set and she could hit, kind of run that 6-2 offense that Poland does. She had 12 kills on the night in their win over Cardinal Mooney. Then you had Morgan Bailey, who set the offense well with 13 assists and 2 serving aces. So you got those 2 players who you have to key in on. The question is, can Katie McDonald hold Lytle?
Yes.
That's the big question, because she can. She's big enough and she's athletic enough to do that. Will they do it tomorrow night?
And when you look at Sarah Forsyth, the week that she had to get on the nomination of the Big Dog of the Valley, she had 35 kills in the last 3 games of the season, and then you add 12 to her last game. So that means in the last 4 matches, she's had 47 kills.
Yes, she has lit it up.
That's when you're only in the front row for 3 rotations and you're setting for the other 3. Your kills can be a little bit short, and she doesn't slip up on her kill numbers.
No, we had a chance to watch her against Springfield. Anthony Romo and I did to end the season, one of their last home games or matches, and she was fantastic with her approach. She went down the line, then the next swing she would roll it over, and then you'd go cross court. So always keeping the defense on her toes, and that's a big part of her game plan, because she's not the strongest of hitters, doesn't have the most velocity on the ball, but she's very accurate on where she's swinging it. You don't see too many errors from her, and that's what makes her a really good hitter.
I think one of the players that goes under the radar for Poland is Sophia D'Angelo.
Yeah, I would agree.
I got to sit right behind their bench last night taking pictures, and the energy she brings to this team, that she's definitely the spark plug, definitely the most energetic player on the floor. Yep. And I think she's definitely that wild card. When they set her to the right side, she can put balls away on the right. And then she just plays good defense, and she's really good with her energy.
Right behind Forsyth in kills when you look at it. 158 digs. So, she's doing both as an outside hitter and kind of playing in the back row as a good defensive player. And like you talked about, you need a senior like that brings some energy to the floor. Of course, you got Forsyth, who's more of the sneaky attacker, and then D'Angelo comes at you with that big swing. So a lot of energy from her, and I think this should be a decent matchup. I think if Poland could come out and take at least one in the first 2 sets, they might have a chance, just so they could get some of their confidence back against a team that's dominated them this year. But overall, it's very tough to beat a team 3 consecutive times and sweep them 3 consecutive times with the talent that Poland has.
That matchup tomorrow will be in Crestview, and it will be the early game. 6:00 is the start time for that one. No, it is going to be 7:30. Excuse me. Crestview plays first, then they'll watch Lakeview Poland. So Crestview plays first at 6 against Waterloo, and then Poland will play Lakeview at 7:30. Both games at Crestview. Mooney, congratulations on a great season. This is kind of the double-edged sword of tournament time. We love the atmosphere, but we do have to say goodbye to great teams. They end with a record of 8-14. Maria Fire was, I think, absolutely just fun to watch over her career. Great middle blocker, and like I said, a lot of great seniors for them that stepped up in new roles this year and did a valiant job that we'll see later on in the sports season. Fire will get right back to it in basketball. Addison Stacy is a great lacrosse player for Coach Shaheen, who goes from coaching volleyball and she'll go into coach lacrosse in the spring. So we'll see both of those and the rest of the seniors more and more as the sports season continues. Once again, congratulations to Mooney on an incredible season, and thank you for bringing us on the ride. So we go from the first part of that bracket talking about Lakeview versus Poland. Now we have to talk about Crestview, who got their tournament run started 25-5, 25-7, 25-13. Wasn't really much of a problem with Beechwood. They didn't take the bye. Coach Auer wanted them out on the floor. But this was, I think, the lowest seed in the bracket against Crestview in round 1, and they took care of business in a sweeping fashion. Grace Auer, she led them with 14 kills on the night. She had 6 assists and 7 digs. Abby Emsch with 8 kills for the Rebels and 7 digs as well. Served up 4 aces, did Emsch. And then Lainey Hour had led the team in assists with 17 as part of that 6-2 offense for the Rebels. Crestview will go into the sectional championship on Thursday. They will play Waterloo, who had that first round bye, and that game will be at Crestview at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, when you look at the matchup, Waterloo's a team that's struggling, and
Right.
I mean, just looking at it, they have lost 11 matches in a row. Their last one was on September 10th, so I don't see much of a problem for the Rebels coming in and, hopefully getting a second round victory, and then that sets you up to play the winner of Lakeview and Poland. And you kind of talked about it. I think that Lakeview has the bigger trap match in round number 2 than Crestview does. I think Crestview's kind of going to skate by, and they're going to get into that district semifinal where they'll have the opportunity to play Lakeview. And then you look at the other side of the bracket. That side has not started yet. That starts tonight at 6 and 7:30 with Mineral Ridge, Brookfield, and Warren Champion and Youngstown Liberty. So, then Crestview, when they play Lakeview on the 26th, the district championship is the 29th. So both teams will then be rested for 3 days to play that district championship.
Right. And when you look at it, obviously the bracket cut in half. So half of it started yesterday, half of it starting tonight. In Mineral Ridge, those 2 games are with Liberty. Who are they playing again?
Liberty's playing champion. And
Liberty
Ridge is playing
champion,
Brookfield.
Ridge and Brookfield. Ridge and Brookfield played to end the regular season. So they're playing 2 matches in a row on the docket, and Ridge was able to sweep the Warriors pretty easily the first time around. We'll see if it goes just as easily the second time. Once again, Crestview advances in a sweep over Beechwood, and they advance to play Waterloo on Thursday at 6 o'clock in Crestview. We move on to Springfield. They were able to beat Newton Falls as they were able to go to Southern Local. They were the first game on the docket in Southern, and they were able to win in 4 sets over Newton Falls. Set scores here 25-13, 25-18, and then Newton Falls got a thriller one, 27-25. Springfield came back and rebounded in set 4, won at 25-16. Baylon Braungardt continues her impressive season. She had 10 kills, shared the lead with Jamaica Braungardt. Baylon, though, had the triple-double with 12 digs and 26 assists on the night. Jamaica added 3 blocks to her total. Maddie Lesnack had 7 kills on the night and a team-high 4 blocks at the net. And she also had 3 aces. JC Mullen contributed 23 digs. Mullen had 6 kills as well. Sam McKim, the libero for Springfield, also had 23 digs. So just with those 2, that's 46 digs combined by JC Mullen and Sam McKim. And then you add Baylon Braungardt's 12. A lot of work for the defense for the Tigers as Newton Falls definitely didn't slow things down on the attack.
No, they did not. 3 wins in a row now for the Springfield Tigers, playing some good volleyball. And now they're going to have a chance to take on Southern on the second round of this bracket. Southern 6 seed, Springfield 7 seed. So pretty much even, coming into round number 2 tomorrow night at 7:30. And then those 2 await the winner of Western Reserve and Wyndham. And when you look at Springfield, a team that really loaded the back half of their schedule, playing Poland, Western Reserve, and Mineral Ridge, all 3 of those matches played in a row. Then they kind of eased in with Columbiana and Struthers and then, beating Newton Falls. But, I contribute that to playing some tougher teams and taking those bumps and bruises on the 3-game losing streak to Poland, who's a good squad, Western Reserve, who's in their bracket. So they got an opportunity to see them before they potentially play them in the district semi. And then Mineral Ridge, they lost 3-1. So, they definitely beefed that up towards the latter half of the season.
And before that 3-game stretch, you look at the second half of the season versus the first half, and Springfield obviously found something that worked a lot better because I think there was a point when they had they were 3-8 maybe somewhere around there, and they won 5 in a row to get to 8-8 and really kind of revive their season. And they've just looked like a different team ever since that point. They've definitely not been undefeated since that point. They've taken a couple of losses, but they've definitely just looked like a more competitive, more sharp team. Baylon Braungardt is putting up triple doubles like it's her job. But then Jamaica Braungardt right there in the middle of the net. You've had a chance to see her play. Very athletic middle blocker for Springfield. But when she rotates out and they put Lesnack in the middle, that's not a slump either.
Well, I don't know if this is a common occurrence, but when I got to see her play, Jamaica Braungardt came off the bench. So she actually wasn't in the starting rotation. Right. She came off.
She was the second middle in the rotation.
She was the second middle in the rotation, and that kind of threw Poland off in the match that I saw. Right. She was dominant in the middle. When they got a chance to feed her with a little slide to the right side, it was very difficult to guard on the defensive side. So I think she kind of makes this team coming off the bench a little bit, brings that energy, brings that power to the front row, and she's the difference maker up front.
When Springfield can play good defense and get good passes, they have plenty of weapons to hurt you with. JC Mullen, Maddie Lesnack, Jamaica Braungardt, Baylon Braungardt, they can all get solid kill numbers, so they have plenty of weapons to hit you with. I think their issue or their inconsistency is just going to be, can they get in the system and can they make it?
Yes.
Can they make it easy on their setters? They have two of them, so can they make it easy on their setters to really move that ball around and get into the flow of their offense?
Oh, you're exactly right. Receiving errors 175 this season in 79 sets. So, you kind of want to clean those numbers up a little bit. And if they're able to receive it well against Southern, get it to those two passers, like you said, I think they have a good chance to take down Southern.
Haven't gotten stats from that Southern game yet, but they did lose a set to Lisbon. They won that match in 4. So that was interesting to see the final score come in for that one, because that was a team in the EOAC that Southern had really handled this season, with sweeping them twice in the regular season. But Lisbon was able to get a set on them in the sectional semifinals.
You're right. Yeah, 3-1 was the final there. This is a Southern team. I mean, we talk about how good Springfield's playing. Southern is playing even better.
Right.
They've won 7 matches in a row now, only losing 2 sets. One of them to United back on the 4th, and then most recently last night against Lisbon, where they just lost 1 set. So this is a team that's playing some really good volleyball right now at the right time. And, of course, those are the favorite seed coming into tonight. Their losses are against quality opponents, Columbiana, Wellsville. Wellsville actually twice. And then Conotton Valley, which is in
that was to
Bowerstown.
Start out the season, too, if I remember right.
So they haven't lost much in the last month and a half. So this is a good team right now. When you look at Southern, Schroeds is the player to look out for.
2 names to watch out for Southern: Ashley Schroeds and then Riley Malott.
Schroeds is 379 kills. That's like 5%. I mean, she's hitting at a 290 clip right now, and she's the go-to swinger. She's almost got 800 attacks total this year. So if you are the opposition in Springfield tomorrow night, you're just circling 22.
800 attacks, and your hit percentage is almost at 300.
Yep.
That's very good volleyball for fans or listeners that aren't really equipped to the stats. Like 290, when you're getting set that much, is very good, very efficient for your hitting percentage.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to hit 290 and only have 147 total errors on almost 800 attacks means you're killing it about 50% of the time. And that also doesn't account for how many times they defend you. So to kill it 50% of the time is huge. And when you got a hitter like that, you can rely on consistently match after match. You're going to be a good volleyball team.
Let's go into the Lakeview volleyball team, as they were able to celebrate on their last game on their home court. They were able to sweep away Grand Valley. Your final score is 25-6, 25-8, 25-11. The interesting thing about set 1, you're like, what's interesting about it? It was 25-6. Lakeview had to take a timeout early. It was 5-4. They were kind of battling Grand Valley back and forth. Coach Guthrie took a timeout, and from that point on, Lakeview won, 21 of the last 25 points. They went on a 24-1 run after trailing 5-4. So their serve, once Mallory Mylock got on the service, her serves were just deadly to Grand Valley. They couldn't receive it at all, and she did a great job. All their servers did a really good job of making sure Grand Valley didn't really get any kind of offense going after that quick start to try to shock the Bulldogs. Tara Lytle led the offense, 16 kills for her. That's no shocker there. She's been leading the offense all season. Maggie Pavlansky spent her last night in Lakeview. setting the ball well, 18 assists for her. Maddie Bayes, congratulations, 10 digs on the night, but she also celebrated her 1,000th career dig of the night as well. The Lakeview Libero adds to their accolades, and now they have Carolina with 1,000 kills, Maggie Pavlansky with 1,000 plus assists, and now they have an 1,000 plus dig getter in that senior class, with Maddie Bayes getting 1,000 digs on the night. Once again, she had 10 last night and now 1,000 on her career. Reagan Price led the team in 2 categories with 2 blocks and 4 aces for her. Lakeview advances to the sectional final on Thursday. They will be in Crestview as they once again play Poland for the 3rd time this year. That game will be the late game at Crestview, starting at approximately 7:30.
Lakeview, a team that's just stacked with talent, and you look up and down the roster. I mean, they're senior led this year for sure, with their 2 best hitters and Lytle. Of course, you got Schmader on the outside as well, who's a senior. Brooke Snyder in the back row, who you got a chance to talk to a couple weeks ago. She's a senior as well. Bayes is one of those players that is very good in the back row, getting 1,000 career digs. She's a senior. So this is their opportunity.
This is their class, right?
To win it. And, they're going to have to take down, most likely if they get by Poland, this Crestview team. And, when you look at Lakeview, barely dropped one to Kirtland to end the season in 5 sets, 3-2 to kind of.
Kirtland's waiting on the other side of that bracket. If they're able to get by Crestview and get into a district championship game, it would be Kirtland or if numbers played out, it would be Kirtland or Middle Ridge in that district semi.
And obviously, we talked about this before. Lakeview played Crestview last year. Didn't go their way. They have not played them yet this season. So, this is the first time they're seeing them. This is a much improved and much different Lakeview team than a year ago.
Yeah, I think they've kind of proven that the last year was an anomaly. Their first 2 seasons as starters of the senior class, won the NE8, really didn't have much problems. They went to 5 with Gerard once, but they kind of were able to handle Gerard that year. They were able to beat Jefferson, who was a very good team for the last 4 years as well. They won the NE8 2 years in a row. That was their, I think, 4th straight. They've won the NE8 every single year until last year. That it existed. And then last year, Gerard came with Lauren Pallone 1 year older and Brie Littell 1 year older. And they just kind of shocked the Bulldogs the first time. And the second time it went 5. Third time in the tournament, it went 5. And they couldn't beat Gerard last year. And that kind of mentally got them into a state. They lost some games they probably shouldn't have lost last year. They weren't exactly, Coach Guthrie honest, they weren't exactly mentally tough last year. They responded and they said, this is not going to be the legacy we're going to leave at Lakeview. They were able to win the NE8 again this year. They were able to beat Gerard once, split with that good Gerard team. But I think they sent a gift basket to Jefferson for upsetting Gerard and giving them that NE8 championship. They were able to beat Jefferson twice and take care of the league. And now it's time to take care of a district because that's been their bugaboo, trying to get out of districts the last 3 years. They were in Division II. And Notre Dame Cathedral Latin had been that team that had been standing in their way.
That's right. They're out of there now.
Now they're out of Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, but they have 4 state-ranked teams in their bracket this year, so it doesn't get much easier with Kirtland, Crestview, and Middle Ridge also being ranked in the state.
No, I mean, but they've seen almost every team in this bracket except for Crestview. That's
right.
It's one of the only teams they haven't seen, so they're very familiar with this type of volleyball now. Now the question is, when you look at, of course, the matchup tonight with Middle Ridge, can they get past Brookfield and Wycliffe and then take down Kirtland?
Right.
And we talked about it. There's 4 or 5 really good volleyball teams in this Orwell district on the sectional. So
we were excited before these brackets came out because there were 5 state ranked teams in the district voting, right? Because the Lake was the number 1 team in the state, and then you had Lakeview, Crestview, Middle Ridge, and Kirtland all in there too. And it was interesting that one Lake Catholic went 1, and then everyone else went another bracket. So you have one bracket with 4 state-ranked teams. It's about to get really interesting as these teams get out of sectionals and into districts, and we start to see some of these state-ranked versus state-ranked matchups pretty soon.
Yeah, this is the nitty-gritty of it, really. I mean, Lakeview's, like you said, they've been motivated to play these matches here. These are their big ones. They've, been very consistent throughout this season. 20-3. 13-1 in the NE8 conference. Their only loss, like you said, to Gerard at home. Both teams kind of flipped. Lakeview was able to go on the road and beat Gerard.
Right.
Gerard was able to go on the road and beat Lakeview. And then you look at a team like Riverside, Paynesville, who's much bigger. Lost to them in 3 sets, 2-1
in a try match.
in a try match. Then you lose to Kirtland 3-2, who's in your district as well. So they're definitely primed and ready to go for this season and this type of volleyball. And, we wish them the best of luck, and it's going to be interesting. I think, of course, you're going to be very excited if, Crestview and Lakeview are able to get past this sectional final.
If that district is set up with 2 semifinals with Lakeview, Crestview, Kirtland Ridge,
I think if I was
the betting person,
I would.
If I was to put some
odds on
Skittles
that.
down on that one, that if the numbers play out, that would be it. And that would be 2 district semifinals with 4 state ranked teams.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad reality is 2 of them have to go home.
And Mentor Catholic sitting on the other side, like, okay,
yeah, and they play each other after the
final.
regionals.
Yeah,
like those 2 brackets are matched up with each other in regionals. So whoever wins that Medina bracket plays the Orwell bracket in the first round of regionals in Barberton.
And you just see how big of an advantage it is to get the number 1 seed. I mean, look what Crestview has to go through. Look what Lakeview has to go through. Ridge, Kirtland, Mentor Catholic has an easy ride to get to the district.
Their
final.
highest seed in their bracket is the 6.
6. I mean, they're potentially gonna play Berkshire, who
no slum to Berkshire, by the way, and Garrettsville Garfield's in that bracket as well, who has a lot of fine players, and we think they have a chance to beat Berkshire and get into that district championship. But Lake Catholic is just on their own little world right now.
Yeah, they're unreal. They're unreal this year. I mean, they're always good. Let's be real.
If you get past, if Kirtland is the team that gets into the district championship, that's a big if. Middle Ridge has a chance to beat them, of course, and you win that game, whether you're Lakeview or Crestview. You can look at the Kirtland tape and see they got swept by Lake Catholic, but the first set was like 39-37.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty comparable. And Kirtland is a pretty competitive team with Lake Catholic. So, of course, after that 39-37 loss, they lost a little bit of steam and weren't able to really muster up enough in sets 2 and 3. But that's understandable because if you play, almost 2 sets worth of points just to get out of the first one, you lose it. Hard to really get the energy back up to win sets 2 and 3. But that's a team, like if you beat Kirtland, you can say, okay, they're kind of competitive with Lake Catholic. They're right there, and that should at least be the level of volleyball we expect in Lake Catholic as well.
No, you're right. I mean, those are 2 comparable teams. I mean, you could go back, watch tape, but you're gonna have to execute. And at what point is a Crestview and a Lakeview a little bit tired and beat up after this district? Mentor Lake Catholic sitting there, they're kind of like, I'll compare this to the Astros. The Astros sweep the Mariners. The Guardians and the Yankees are slugging it out for 7 days. The Astros, they've been sitting there at home ready to go with their ace. That's kind of like Mentor Lake Catholic right now. Right. They're sitting there with their aces rested, didn't have to play too many competitive matches. If that is the truth and pans out to be, while the other teams are kind of, slaying it on the other side of the bracket, competing and battling every single night. So at what point does that fatigue and tiredness kind of take over for a team like Mentor Lake Catholic to go into that regional semi and, show that they've been rested for a while?
Side note real quick, because I know we don't talk too much about national sports, but I feel for the Mariners. Man, do I feel for them, because they had game 1, they blew it.
Yep.
And then in game
3 was 18
innings. It's like, oh, that's just, it's rough, but they had a great season for that franchise. They hadn't been to the playoffs in a long time. I'm sure their fan base, as hurt as they are, can kind of get a little bit reflective on that. But I was watching that on Saturday night in Kansas City, and I was like, oh man, I just feel so bad for Seattle right now. It's a rough series against the number 1 seed in the Astros when you feel like you were right there.
How was that Arrowhead Stadium?
Oh my gosh, Sunday? We talked about it with DJ yesterday, but it was one of those once in a lifetime experiences. Like you'll never get it again. I've obviously I haven't been to too many NFL games to compare it to as far as atmosphere goes. But there were parts in that game where you couldn't even hear yourself think. Yeah. Like not even hear yourself. You couldn't hear. I was telling DJ they were shooting off fireworks on both sides of the stadium, so they shoot them off in both end zones, and you couldn't even hear them. Like you couldn't hear the fireworks because of how loud it was when the Chiefs scored in our end zone, because I was in one end zone, so they scored in our end zone both times. The only thing you ask for is a win.
Yeah, tough one at the end.
I'm only here once in my life. Let's get a win. But no, it was great. It was a great atmosphere. Like I said, wouldn't have traded for anything. And the best thing, Richie, was I got to share it with family. I got to go down there. Cousins brought us to the game. Got to stay with a couple other family members throughout the weekend. So that's the most important thing to me, is just being able to see family members that I don't get to see but once a year, and being able to share that experience with a couple of them was the most treasuring with me, because I'm a people person. So me and my brother Tom are a different kind of people, because he's not as social as me. I'm like high-fiving random strangers, like every time the Chiefs do something good. He'll do it if someone like turns to him and does it, but he's not going to engage that.
He won't engage that.
He's not going to engage that situation. So I'm like reaching over the railing, like hitting people on the shoulder, getting everyone fired up, and he's like, cool, let's go.
Whatever.
But we both had fun, and it was great. The travel was another crazy thing, but
wow.
I mean, it was flights, which is easy, but it was still a 12-hour day, and I told him, man, we could just driven to Kansas City. It would have taken the same amount of time.
Probably, yeah.
But it's all good. It was all fun, and I did this yesterday, but thank you to Ty Bartell, Anthony Romo. You picked up some slack on the content on over the weekend, and then Ty Bartell also did a really good job on Monday while I was gone. So,
yeah, he did.
So it's great to have a team that kind of backs you up when you have a chance to do something that's once in a lifetime like that. So thank you to everyone at YSN for giving me the opportunity to do that. We have one more volleyball stat that got reported that we're going to share with you. Girard got the win in their first tournament game over at Cheney. It was a sweep, 25-7, 25-3, 25-7 were the scores there. Lauren Pallone and Brie Littell both had 10 kills to lead the Indians, and then Allison Durkin had 26 assists on the night for the Indians as well. Bailey Walters, 2 digs. The Cowgirls offense didn't really pose much of a threat to the back row. She served up 5 aces for the Indians to lead them as well. Girard, because they're the 1 seed, they get kind of that easy path.
The same effect, yeah.
That we were talking about with Lake Center. They go to the sectional championship. They will play Niles on Thursday. In Girard, they'll host the sectional championships as well.
I think Aurora could be a pretty good matchup if you get to that point.
Yes,
I mean, Aurora's played a pretty good schedule. They don't have the best record, 14-8, but they're playing those teams up near that Cleveland area. So they're playing some good volleyball against some good schools. They're a little bit off right now. They've lost 2 out of their last 3, but if you get to that point, I think that might be a better match than people think.
I talked about them in my Division II volleyball preview that we put up last week on the website. Aurora is a team that was Division I for last year. In the last several years, they were Division I, so they're used to the Division I speed of volleyball, and they play a lot of Division I teams. So even though they're down in Division II this year and they have a little bit of an unfavorable record, you can't sleep on Aurora. They took Fitch to 5 last year in the district semifinal. So they're a very good Aurora. I think they're the Green Men.
Yep, Green Men.
Lady Green Men. Yep. Very good volleyball team down there, and you can't sleep on Aurora if Girard's able to match up with them later on in the tournament. Obviously, Notre Dame Cathedral Latin on the other end of that district, and they're a team to watch out for in Division II as well. That matchup wouldn't happen, though, for Girard until the eventual regional championship if they were able to get there.
Yep.
So we go into soccer. We have 2 soccer games that we got stats reported into real quick as the Waterloo Vikings. Congratulations. They get into the district tournament for the first time since 2012. They have a easy win, 10-0 last night. And once again, first time in districts in a decade. And it was Kara English leading them with 6 goals. Oof. That means her career total now sitting at 142 as she continues her race for a state record in career goals. She's just a junior, so she'll come back next year. Rose Couch with 4 goals for the Vikings, and if you do your math, 6 + 4, that equals 10. So that's your total goals. Kara English had an assist, and Couch had 2. Sydney Jackson also had 2 assists as well. Let's see, Grace Urin had 6 saves and under the goal, and the team collected. Came together on a cold, rainy night to win the sectional championship and once again advance the district for the first time in a decade. So they'll go to the district semifinals on Monday. They have almost a week off as they will go Monday at 6:00 for a chance at the district championship, into the district final, into the district championship.
16-0-1. I mean, that's an impressive record. Only tied a champion, and their only other close match was the champion, 2-1. So it's really the only team that's competed against Waterloo this entire season. They have been rolling teams this year. They've scored a total of 121 goals and only given up 17.
So you come into this season, Richie, and you like every team on Waterloo's schedule knew Kara English was someone they had to stop. Like you circle her 5 times. It hasn't mattered.
No.
She has 50 plus goals in the season now with the 6 that she just put up. So like it doesn't matter.
No. And
that's when you know you're special. When the other team knows they have to stop you and they still can't.
No, you're right.
Other players have definitely stepped up. Rose Couch is a great contributor to the offense. And you said it, he doesn't even have half of Waterloo's goals, still with 50 plus because they have 121 as a team. So not even half of Waterloo's goals. So other players have definitely stepped up when teams try to really focus on her. That's why Waterloo has been so successful, but you can't stop it. It's like the Barry Sanders effect. It's coming. You know that all that Detroit has is the run game, and you still can't stop
it. Yeah. No, that is brutal for a defense, but I think it's a lot of speed on the outside when you look at it with some of their best players. I mean, you've already talked about it with Kara English in the season that she's had with 49 goals. Coots has 22 goals. The senior Boyle's got 20 goals. And then you got a couple other players that have 7, 6, and then 3. So overall, outside of English, trying to spread it around a little bit. And this is a team that scores at a very high level. And then their goalkeeper has 57 saves on the season and just a couple goals against. So, all around, they're a good squad, and that's a team you got to look out for in that district.
All right, Richie, we might have saw the biggest upset in the soccer season last night as winless Niles beat Alliance, the 14 seed, 2-1 in overtime last night to advance to the sectional final.
Yeah, that was the first one of the season. 1-16 on the year. And then they beat an upset team that was Alliance that was 9-1.
Never count yourselves out, man.
I mean that is impressive for Niles to come out there and beat them
in overtime.
So you never know. I mean, that's why you play the match, right?
Niles advances to the next round where they will match up with Poland. That's the 3 seed. It's going to be a taller mountain to climb. But hey, if you get one upset, why not get 2? That'll be Saturday at 4:00 at Poland. It's the 3 seed Bulldogs versus the 23 seeded Dragons. The other side of that bracket, and we're looking at it, it's Canfield. They have an opponent now as Girard was able to beat Edgewood on Monday 6-0. So it'll be Girard Canfield on one side of the sectional on Saturday at 12, and then Poland versus Niles on the other side at 4. So you know what's coming. You know what they're staring down the barrel at. And that is a district semifinal with the Battle of 224.
Yeah, I mean that'll be interesting for sure. I think we talked about this last week. When you look at that bracket, Canfield and Poland, who are projected to get past their round 1 and 2 opponent, and then you get to that sectional final with Poland it'd be a district.
It'd be a district semi.
District semi?
Yeah, it'd be a district
semi between Poland and Canfield. And we talked about it with all the neutral sites. Where are they going to play it? Because in the past, whatever team was higher hosted until you get to the district championship. But I believe this year's a little different.
Well, it says TBA, so it's not a set. If it's set, it hasn't been set yet.
Okay.
So it still might be the higher seed.
So it could still be the higher seed.
Which would be Poland.
So Poland would host. That'd be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun.
But Niles is playing spoiler.
Yeah. Wow.
You got to watch out for Niles. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in the 88, and Poland's already beat them. There's no secrets between the Niles and Poland, so got to watch out. A team that feels confident can be dangerous, but definitely a taller task to beat Poland than Alliance. 14 seed Alliance versus what would be the 3 seed in Poland. If numbers go, it would be 3 seed Poland versus 5 seed Canfield. We'll take a quick look while we're in that bracket at the other side of it, the top half, as Ravenna will play Hubbard. That sectional championship was already set. So that game will go on Saturday at 4:00. That is the 6 seed Hubbard and the 8 seed Ravenna. And then at the top of the bracket, you have Painesville Harvey, the 2 seed. They will play Madison, the 20 seed, who had an overtime victory, another upset. So this is an upset bracket over the 16 seed Geneva, 2-1 in overtime. So it'll be 20 seed Madison versus 2 seed Harvey in the top of the bracket. And if numbers match up, it'll be 2 versus 3 in the championship. But we know numbers don't mean anything.
No, they don't mean anything of that. So, when you look at soccer, any given night, a team can beat anybody. You just need that one break, whether it be, a penalty kick, in the box.
Right.
It's just something. I mean, Niles, you saw it. Overtime. All they needed was one chance, and they capitalized. And that's, the specialty of soccer is you never know on any given night.
That's a crazy. I mean, like, if the team can't find a way to get into the goal, there's really nothing you can do. If you're a Lions, you're sitting there, you're like, we're getting our shots, we're just missing, and Niles stays in it, and then they win in overtime. Impressive. Fitch was able to get the upset victory over Chardon. They traveled to the Hilltoppers and got the 4-1 victory. So it wasn't a close nail biter. It was the Falcons winning that one emphatically 4-1. When we get stats, we'll update you on the website. But they do advance to the sectional final where they will meet up with the 5th seeded Massillon Jackson Polar Bears. That game will be in Jackson on Saturday. Kickoff for that game is approximately 7 o'clock. The winner advances to the district semifinal. So Fitch with an upset over Chardon. So a lot of our YSN teams getting some upsets.
Somebody beating Chardon. It feels nice.
Other scores in boys soccer last night as Boardman was able to absolutely brush 10-0, the final score there. Louisville with their first overtime game played for the program since 2019, and they were able to win it 1-0 over Glen Oak. And then we were still waiting for the final scores of Beaver Local and East Liverpool. They both played last night as well. With that, that'll do it for our recaps of the day, of the night. We'll take a break. When we come back, we have a great second hour of the show for you. Brian Tolnar will join us at 1 o'clock from Mill Creek Golf Course. We're going to talk to him about Rocco Turner bringing back his state championship and some of the things that make him so special. And we'll also wrap up the high school golf season and then see what Brian has in store for the late fall months, the weeks at Mill Creek Golf Course in the Metro Parks as well. And then at 1:20, we'll have Claire Bruner, the Bruner, the middle blocker of West Branch, coming on with us at 1:20. So all that and more coming up on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens. On air, online, Wednesday afternoon weather update,
very dangerous,
and on the 21 News social media platforms. 21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Richie Giuliano, and now we're going to be joined as well by Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek Metro Parks. Brian, thank you so much for taking the time to join us like you do every week. We missed you last week. I know you're a busy man, but good to have you back.
Yeah, last week, unfortunately, we had our Volney Rogers Awards here for the Metro Park. So as a director, I had to attend that at Fellows, and then we had a VA luncheon right after that too. So it's been a whirlwind week. Just wrapped up our PGA Hope and got a lot of good things getting ready for 2023.
In case people forget, Brian has a very hectic job. The fact that we get him every day for 15 minutes is a miracle in itself, every week, I should say. But we thank you as always for your time, Brian, whenever you can spare it. And I guess we're going to start off by the excitement of Rocco Turner bringing home a state championship. When you saw the scores that he put in, a first round 74, second round 71, and I think that's what's the math. Final is 145.
Yeah.
145 for the first place finish. What were some of your reactions to seeing Rocco bring home a state championship?
Well, I think anytime that you shoot that low, especially on day two, you're coming off a 74, you're leading the event, and then you shoot one under in the final round to put yourself in really good shape. And you have to keep in mind on Sunday, as I was looking through some of the stats here, you had 7 players break 80, for the entire field on Sunday. So to shoot 71, you're really lapping a lot of people by a lot, because if you look at the scores, there was 2 71s, a 72, 74, 75, 77, and a pair of 79s. And that's it. That's the only folks in that entire tournament field that broke 80 on the final round. So to be able to do that, and, obviously to shoot well the first round in the conditions, obviously it's cold. It's not been really conducive to golf, and, to be able to see some local talent. I mean, we haven't had a state winner here since, I want to say, Jason Kokrak back in around 2003 and 4, I think is when he won, or 2002 or 2003. You've had Johnny Hamrick from Mooney. You've had Julian Taylor from Ursuline. And then, prior to that, you had Alex Antonio, who won it twice for Hubbard. So, I mean, if you look at those names, those guys played professionally. They had very good collegiate careers. So to be able to say I'm a junior and win the state title at Mooney, a local school here, and we're fortunate to have them play here and use Mill Creek as a home facility. It's pretty special, and it's pretty special for our area, knowing that these kids have been playing golf, and they've started out in PGA Junior League. They've been part of the the greatest golfer events. They played Northern Ohio section events, some AJGA events, and to be able to watch their careers progress in the 8 years that I've been back in the Mahoning Valley and back in the area is pretty neat. And to to be able to say you're a state champion as a junior in high school gives you an opportunity, number one, to make it back there, number two, to go back to back. So it's a pretty cool feat.
And when you look at Rocco Turner, to come back the second day and shoot a 71, 3 strokes lower than that 74 total in the first round, maybe you would see some fatigue on that second day, but that was not the case. He came out and used that second day as an advantage, kind of knowing the course a little bit better. How much of an advantage do you think it is playing the round the second time? Because it's a little bit different than the sectional and district. This time you get to play the course twice. So how much of an advantage do you think that is, playing the practice rounds and then going through it potentially for the third or fourth time?
Well, I think the more reps that you have at anything that you do, the more opportunities and the more chances that you have in playing there and playing under those conditions, you're going to play better the next time and the next round and the next round. So it only bodes well for you. So I think, that has a lot to do with his success there. But, number two, everybody says, the second day, there's, not that much pressure because you've shot whatever you shot the first day. But I mean, holding the lead overnight and knowing that you're in contention and have a shot at winning that, gives that added dimension of a little bit more pressure. So, the way that he obviously conducted himself to shoot, 71, to shoot under par the second day is pretty spectacular when you think about it. Because, I mean, you've held, the lead overnight. You put yourself in good position. The team struggled a little bit. The 2, 3, and 4 players struggled a little bit behind him. So you basically know that you're not going to have the opportunity to pull it off as a team. So now you have to play as an individual and have an opportunity to win it as an individual. I think, the mindset's a little bit different. You had your team, qualify as a group to go down there, and they just didn't have enough quality rounds beyond where Rocco was. Everybody struggled a little bit. So to change the focus of, this is our team doesn't really have an opportunity to win, but I certainly do. So I think you have to change your focus a little bit, knowing that this is all on you. And this is, you've got the only shot of bringing back that state of Ohio plaque to Youngstown. I think is pretty special. And I think adds to the animosity of, and the pressures of, having that overnight lead as well.
All right, I'll have one for you because I know you get to see Rocco Turner a lot. I want you to kind of what makes his game so special? What is he so good at? And what do you think are some of his strengths as a golfer that really helped him put this impressive roundup together?
Well, consistency, I would say, number one. And I get a chance to see them on occasion. I don't watch. We have so many teams that play here. It's hard to watch one team and see what folks are doing. But throughout the course of the year, I've been copied in on some of their Facebook posts and been watching the rounds that they've shot. I think number one, he's been the most consistent scorer. He always shoots, under par, 36, 37, 38. He's always in that window. So his window is a lot tighter than most players are, where you may have some players in the area that can shoot under par, can shoot even par from time to time, but they don't do that consistently. And I think, his consistency of always being able to shoot, 34, 33, 35, 36, 37 in that window, certainly has helped his team throughout the course of the year, because they had, 3 or 4 really good scores every single week and struggled in that 5 or 6 spot a little bit. And that's, customary to high school golf. But I mean, for him to be able to shoot the numbers he has consistently day in and day out, I think makes him a striking force. And then having the ability to get hot when you need to get hot. He played well in the sectional. He played well in the districts that have an opportunity to go to state, and obviously to win the state title. Just goes to show you that when the chips are down and the pressure's on, his game is consistent with how he's played throughout the entire season. So I think, if there's something, obviously you're hitting a lot of greens, you're hitting a lot of fairways, you're making a lot of putts, shooting those numbers. But I think, being steady Eddie under the gun, where you're going to make a lot of pars and birdies and get it up and down in times where your team needs you. I think he's been there from start to finish for the entire year, not only this year, but in past couple of years as well, as a freshman and as a sophomore.
I have one more, and then Richie can hit you. But when I'm looking at the team scores, even though his teammates had higher scores than they want, all 4 of them improved from their first round. What do you think that says about their program and their coach Bellino? That they can kind of bounce back from, even if it was a disappointing round 1, and just improve themselves in round 2 in a really high stress environment like state. Like you said, weather wasn't exactly cooperative towards golf. A lot of players could have turned a disappointing first round into an even worse second round, but every single Mooney player improved their round the second time around. So what does that say about them as a program and their coaching staff?
Well, I think Coach Baylon does an awesome job. We get to see her on a daily basis. Her husband plays in a number of leagues out here, has played in the greatest golfer, is a hell of a golfer on his own. Just how she's coached, not only the girls program, but now the boys and the girls program per se, knowing that they don't have a girls said program, but she does have girls that play on the golf team. They just don't have enough to fill a roster. I think says a lot about their team, and to be able to get a great score the second day, or a better score the second day, you're obviously going off the momentum of Rocco. If you look at their 2 and 3 spot, I believe they're both freshmen, if I'm not mistaken. So Eckstein and Rocco's brother Dante, I think is a freshman. So I think, to be able to go down there and say that you've competed for a state title as having 2 freshmen in the lineup is a feat of its own. And I think, having your older brother there, albeit a junior, and seeing how he's playing gives you some momentum to keep your head down and keep grinding, knowing that you want to put a good score on the card for the second round. So I think, having that great leadership at the top certainly helps. And I think it comes from good coaching as well. And I think, Mary Teresa Bolino does a wonderful job there, and her husband helps out a little bit here and there. And I think, both of them have the true spirit of what coaching is all about. They're in it for the kids. They're in it for the right reasons. And it's the fruition's paying off, that their hard time of practicing and who they play in the scheduling standpoint is really paying off, to the point where you're going to get the best effort out of sectionals and districts, and being able to shoot some of the numbers that they shot going down the state as, very younger, one of the very younger golf teams in the Mahoning Valley, knowing that you've got a junior state champion returning next year, and you've got 2 freshmen in that starting lineup. If they can find I think they graduate the 4, 5, and 6 spots, or maybe the 5 and 6 spots. If they can find another player or 2, this could be a powerhouse at the team level, not only at the individual level, but both the team and individual.
Trying to get back to the Metro Parks a little bit, just wrapped up the PJ Hope event, like you talked about, an unbelievable event for all the veterans. You're a busy man. We know something's coming up next. Kind of give a preview of what you got planned for the future.
Well, on the golf side, there's one event left. It's called our Snowbird Scramble. It's on November 14th, which is a Sunday. It's an 11 o'clock shotgun. It's our way of having a fun event to close out the year. We award some gift certificates for the winners. We do some close to the pins, some long drives. We tuck all the pins on the moguls and the hills. It's kind of like a superintendent's revenge. Makes the event interesting. This time of year, you can do that. In the summertime, when the greens are so fast, it's hard to tuck it on a hill or swale. But it's one of the things that we started when I was up in New York at a place called Triple Creek. We had very severe greens. So at the end of the year, we called it the Suicide Scramble. And then it became Haskey's Revenge, because that was our superintendent. We kind of named it after him. But to be able to do the same thing down here, a lot of people really much enjoy it. We have about 72 to 100, depending upon the year and what the weather is. Last year, we had snow on the back 9, true snow, where you were putting and the balls were, looking like a snowman. Everybody finished their round. It was a lot of fun. We come in, we do chili at hole 55 and a nice dinner and awards presentation for them. So it's one of the events that, we basically cap off the entire season before we go into basically our sale season, and the Black Friday sale the day after Thanksgiving. And then we do the 12 days of Christmas sale, and then our big blowout sale on the 23rd of December each year. So, it's certainly on the downhill for us, but on the recreation side, we're preparing for our move into our new building, and, hopefully that'll be December 1. As of right now, I think we're on target to hit that date. So we'll move our rec staff in there. We'll get a team shop going. We'll have a food and vendor partner in there of some sort. We're going to post a food and beverage opportunity for the Wick Recreation area once that building opens. And then hopefully for the sled hill and the winter off months, we'll have some folks in there to accommodate hot chocolate and some food and things like that. But when that building gets done, it's going to be a key component of how we run and how we operate our recreation department, whether it be from offices to a team shop to food and beverage to locker rooms, a little banquet component as well. So, we've got a ton on the agenda. We've got construction to a cross-country course at the Metro Parks Farms that'll open, I want to say, sometime in maybe the spring, early summer of next year. But talking to our planning director, Justin Rogers, yesterday to go to see what the progress was, it's impressive, and it's going to be built to NCAA specs, so we can get some Youngstown State cross-country events, maybe an Horizon League championship there, some high school invitationals, some middle school invitationals. The sky's the limit when it comes to that property. So we're, basically getting that groomed into how we want to operate it, how we want to rent it out, and how we want to let the practice schedule go. And then talking to some folks about a possible regional disc golf tournament at the Metro Parks Farm as well for next year. We're talking to a group based out of Michigan. So, there's a lot of things on the docket right now. It's our busy season to prepare for merchandise buys in the pro shop, which I'll meet with a couple reps after I get off of here today. So, we've got a lot of oars in the fire, to say so to speak, but a lot of good things and positive momentum as we close out 2022 and head into the recreation and golf side in 23.
Mill Creek Metro Parks never slowing down one bit. And Tolnar's Take never slowing down either. We have another edition of Tolnar's Take. Brian, we're going to play it and then bring you back to talk about it real quick before we
You got it.
Hey, welcome to this YSN's Golf Tip of the Week. Today we're going to talk about the fairway bunker. I think one of the things that happens when a player drives it into the fairway bunker is the number one factor is fear of not being able to advance it very far out of a fairway bunker. Unlike what you'd normally hit a greenside bunker shot where we're using the sand to help us lift the ball out of the bunker, this is going to change just a little bit. We want to make sure that our first contact is with the golf ball, ensuring that we get the proper distance that we're looking for. Now in this case, I'm just trying to punch it out to the fairway, so I'm going to hit a 7-iron. My normal distance with a 7-iron is about 155, 160 yards. If I make good contact, it's probably going to come out around 150 or a couple yards slight shorter than that. And the reason being is how we set up. So when we're in a fairway bunker, we're going to take our normal line of play to where we're direction that we're trying to hit it towards. We're going to play the ball a little bit further back in my stance. So my normal stance with a 7-iron would be right here. I'm going to move the ball back slightly. I'm going to dig my feet in slightly, but not very, very deep, because we don't want the club digging underneath the golf ball too far like we would with a fairway or with a greenside bunker shot. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to choke down on the club just slightly. So my normal grip would be here. I'm going to choke down on the club. This is going to ensure that this club hits the golf ball first. And if anything, we catch it a little bit thin and we get the that's required for this shot to hit it out of the bunker. Very important when you're in a fairway bunker that we keep our lower body as quiet as possible. We want to make an upper body swing. You'll have a little bit with the follow through as the weight goes forward, but on the back swing itself, we want to make sure that our lower body stays pretty much stable. And again, choking down on that grip. Ball position's a little bit further back than I would play my 7-iron. And the first contact is going to be with the golf ball. Then we're going to have a little bit of sand movement. Not too much though. Lower body stable, nice and balanced. And just like that, we've been able to conquer the dreaded fairway bunker, which puts a lot of fear into the amateur golfer. For more tips like this, go to YSN Live or check us out at Mill Creek Metro Parks, millcreekmetroparks.org, 330-740-7112.
And just like that, one take, Tolnar strikes again. We didn't even have to watch the ball because we knew it went exactly where he wanted it to. Rocking the pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. What?
I said that may have been the best fairway bunker shot I've hit all season.
Well, you save it for the camera. That's good. Way to go, Brian. Any extra thoughts that you thought maybe the video didn't touch on, or something like that you need to get out of your way for the fairway bunker before we let you go?
Well, I think that the two key components is, number one, choking down on the grip so we ensure that the club doesn't dig, and number two, stability with that lower body. You'll notice my back heel didn't come off the ground like a normal shot. It came off the ground a little bit, but not how we would normally have about 90% of our weight transferring from back to front foot. When I finished that swing, I probably was about 50-50 on each foot on the follow through. So, my lower body didn't turn quite as much as it normally would with a normal iron shot off a tee off a par 3 course or a fairway shot. So I think, keeping your lower body stable and choking down on that grip to ensure that that club's not digging in the sand I think are the two biggest keys out of that. And number one, don't have the fear of hitting a bad shot or hitting behind it. A lot of players get in there and they get nervous and they have that fear and animosity right away. I think if you do the things from a setup perspective correctly right out of the get-go, if you hit a bad shot, it's going to be a lot better than it would be if you had that fear and hit a little bit behind it. So I think, staying positive and knowing that you're fundamentally set up the right way, moving the ball back in your stance and choking down and keeping your lower body a little bit more quiet than usual, you're going to conquer that shot 9 times out of 10.
All right, Brian, we thank you as always for your time every week. We'll let you get on to your busy day. Thank you again for stopping by and talking with us. We look forward to seeing you again next week.
Absolutely. And congratulations on the new location acquisition. I think it's going to be awesome for YSN and what you guys have. I'm excited for you guys.
We are so excited, and we can't wait to bring you down to it one day.
You got it. Thanks, and have a great week, guys.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek Metro Parks. We go right from him to back to a volleyball interview. Claire Bruner from West Branch joins us live on the show. Claire, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, we have to address the big match tonight, the rivalry in the EBC. Third time around, Salem coming to West Branch in the tournament. Talk about the excitement a little bit about upcoming match tonight. I mean, there's going to be a lot of energy in the field house. I'm guessing there's going to be a great student section for a rivalry. So talk about the excitement from you personally and then your team as well.
Well, Salem's always just a big game. We're always super excited. The rivalry's great. It's always a super energetic and fun match. So it's definitely one we're looking forward to. And especially it being a playoff game, it kind of raises the stakes of it. So we're all definitely really excited.
Looks like she's already got her jersey on, ready to go. I see that number 24. Let's go. The rivalry is real. The playoffs are real. And as we dive deeper into playoff time, what kind of things have been discussed the last week or so among this team to really make sure you're in the right mental state for tournament time and trying to get yourselves as big of a tournament run as you possibly can?
Well, throughout, we've definitely had a lot of ups and downs, and we've moved our lineup around a lot. So we are still kind of working on a new lineup. So we're just going to try to find the one that works best for us and come out with that and hopefully keep up the energy and keep up the momentum going into tournaments.
Talk about being up and down throughout the schedule, but this team has really been battle tested this year when you look at the non-conference part of the schedule, taking down a really good Mineral Ridge team and then playing Girard and Massillon, Washington to finish out the season. Although those are two difficult losses, how much do you think that will help this team come tournament time, knowing that you guys have played some of the best teams around this area in the last week?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps us. The better the team, the better it makes you coming out of it. And it was definitely tough losses to both Girard and Massillon, but it just made us better and it made us realize that we are a good team. We just have to keep up the momentum and play through those hard teams. So it definitely will help us going into playoffs.
Since it's your senior year, I mean, is it a little bit more sense of urgency into this tournament time, knowing that when it's over, it's over?
Yeah, I think we're all kind of just, we want to come in playing our hardest because it might be our last each tournament game as we go farther. And there's 5 of us this year, 5 seniors. So I think we all kind of feel the same way on that. We just want to leave everything out there because it might be our last game.
Incredible senior season so far. Talk about what it has been like. I mean, you've led this team in a lot of categories, especially hitting on the outside. So what was your approach entering your senior season, trying to step up as a leader?
It was definitely a lot of pressure. There's, like I said, there's 5 of us this year. So we do have an older starting lineup. So that definitely helps. There's a lot of leadership on the court, which definitely helps us through some of our harder games.
When you think about some of the other senior teammates that you have on this West Branch team and the friendships you've been able to build with them throughout your career playing with them, who do you think you've gotten to know the most from freshman year to now senior year?
We're all super close. I would say I've built a really good relationship with our setter, Hannah Rush, just because it's a really strong connection through obviously setters and hitters because I can't be successful without her. So I think we've built a really good relationship over these 4 years.
A lot of talent on this team when you look at it. There's a lot of pressure that has kind of brought off of your shoulders a little bit. When you look at Michaelin Fitz, who comes into the middle, Adele Peters, who swings it really well, Showalter, how much does that help having pieces around you, knowing that, not all the eyes on the court are on you?
Yeah, it definitely takes off a lot of pressure because, like, if you come into the game, like, say me, if I'm having a rough game, I know that not all the pressure of that is on me because there's other hitters who have my back and can kind of make up for what I lack that game. So it definitely takes a lot of pressure off of my shoulders because I know that I am not the only one and they have my back. And when I play down, they play up. So it's just kind of nice that we have so many good hitters and we have so much depth to our team. It's not just all the pressure on any of us.
All right, you're being coached by a legend, so we have to talk about Coach DeShields and what she's meant to this program and what kind of things she's taught you, not just about volleyball, but about, life in general.
Yeah, she's a great coach. She's been a coach for a long time. And she definitely helps us know that there's going to be up and downs and there's going to be hard times. And I think she helps us deal with like change a lot because we've changed a lot of lineups and we've went through a lot. So I think she helps us with that aspect of things. But she's a great coach and she's been coaching for so long. She has a lot of knowledge to share with us.
There's been some time off between your last match of the season against Boardman to now, where it's tournament time. What has this team really worked on throughout that week stretch to kind of gear up for the postseason?
We've done some conditioning things. We've worked on different lineups. We've just been tossing things around and ideas around. We've worked on some plays just to hope to come out into playoffs harder than we did in the regular season.
All right. And what about things that you have worked on all season and things that you wanted to see yourself accomplish as personal goals you set for yourself before the season started?
I just wanted to kind of speed up my hits and our offense and obviously just get some more kills on the season, which I think we did a pretty good job of. So that we've been successful in that goal.
It's very difficult to beat a team 3 times in a row throughout a season. I mean, you guys have beat Salem twice and swept them twice. With an atmosphere like tonight, obviously there's going to be a lot of nerves in a playoff matchup. What do you want to focus on personally to kind of keep things under control?
I think we just have to focus on if we lose the ball, getting it back fast. Not let them get a lot of momentum and get runs, which is the last time we played them, we got in a lot of ruts. So hopefully tonight we can keep that under control and keep their runs and their amount of scoring under control.
Richie talked about the atmosphere, and your community travels better than arguably any community with that green machine going anywhere. And you can spot the green in the crowd anywhere too. What's it mean to have this West Branch community behind you guys, and what have they meant to this team this season?
The West Branch community is so great. I mean, you see it whenever there's a tragedy in the community. You see it supporting our sports teams. You see it a lot with the football team, the volleyball team, the soccer team. It's just a really great community, and it makes us feel, I think, important to the community to have them all behind us. So it's really great, and they definitely push us to continue on to be better, and they're great to have behind you.
You've had a very long-lasting West Branch volleyball career. Now that you're a senior, playoff time towards the end of the season, when you look back and reflect a little bit, what are some of your favorite memories that you've had playing volleyball as a Warrior?
There's been so many great memories. I mean, it's been a long but great 4 years. Every time we play Marlington, it's a great thing. And actually, in my 4 years, we have not beat them, but we've been close a few times. But I think beating Salem every year is obviously just a big, great memory that I have.
What about some off-the-court memories with your teammates that you have that are some of your favorites, some of the team bonding exercises that you've been able to do in your last 4 years?
Yeah. Well, my freshman year, we went to Cedar Point as a team, and every year since then, we've went to tournaments at Cedar Point, and our summer camps are always fun. So we have really good fun summers together, working on things, conditioning. So summers are really a fun thing that I will always remember.
Classmen, who were some of the players that you kind of looked after a little bit when you were a freshman or a sophomore? Some of the players that you looked at and said, I want to play like them.
There was our setter, Elise Wallace, my freshman year. She is a great setter. She plays at Point Park University now, and she is always someone that I've looked up to a lot. And Jessica Bach, I've always looked up to her. She was a middle. She plays in college now. She was a great role model. Sydney Mercer last year, obviously, she was our outside. I've always looked up to her a lot. She's a great hitter.
And before I let you go, I want to get to know you a little bit off the court too. Hit you with some rapid fire questions and see if we can't crack the egg that Claire Bruner is. What is some of your favorite breakfast foods to have in the morning before you tackle a big school day?
A lot of times I find myself not eating breakfast, but when I do, my favorite thing is probably pancakes. Chocolate chip pancakes are my favorite thing.
Chocolate chip pancakes. Like there's a lot of different breakfast drinks: milk, orange juice, apple juice. What's your go-to like breakfast drink to go along with those chocolate chip pancakes?
I would probably say chocolate milk is my favorite thing.
Richie, I'm sensing a chocolate theme.
Yeah.
Should we go into like what's the best chocolate bar out there?
Well, I like Reese's. Reese's is probably my favorite.
What about like, is there any chocolate bar or candy bar that you're like, no, not gonna touch it?
Not really. I mean, I don't like Almond Joys. People, yeah, that's probably my one. Almond Joys, I hate them.
It's Halloween time, right? So I guess the next question is, we talk about candy. Like if you had a go-to candy bag, I'm going to give you five pieces of candy to put in your Halloween candy bag. What 5 pieces are you going with to make it a perfect candy bag on Halloween?
I would say probably Reese's, Snickers, Twix, Milky Way, and what else? I don't, and maybe Hershey's, just like
okay. Sticking with the chocolate, we like it.
Yeah.
Your dentist probably likes it a lot. What about some of your favorite meals that your family has? We'll get a little bit more healthy. What are some of the regular day meals that you like to have?
My mom makes steak a lot, so we eat that a lot. And tacos, I think, are most often my favorite meals.
All right. What about like the post game meal, the one that you have to have after a win?
I like eating pasta, like spaghetti or like rigatoni are probably my favorites.
Okay. What's the best West Branch hangout? Like the place that your team gets to get together after a game?
Well, in my earlier years, it used to be Tailgaters, but that is shut down now. So now I don't really know. We go to Dunkin' a lot, so maybe probably that.
What do you get at Dunkin'?
I usually get caramel iced coffee.
Rich, you got anything?
No, I'm not a Dunkin' guy.
No Dunkin'?
No chance.
Anything like the donuts?
No.
What's your favorite donut? Do you have a favorite donut?
I like the chocolate sprinkles.
Chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate.
What is your favorite thing about playing volleyball?
I love volleyball. It really brings you closer to your friends, and it gives you something to do after school. I never really liked going home after school and having nothing to do. So that's something I really like about volleyball, and it gives you a family during season, and that's something I've always really loved.
What's one position that you don't play that you'd like to see if Coach Shields would let you play before you graduate?
Well, I would say setter, but I'm not a good setter. So probably passing, which I do sometimes, but probably to pass more would be what I want.
You know, I know you have a really great libero in Reagan Green Ice, but would you ever take that libero jersey? Let's see it.
Oh, I don't know about that. No.
Oh man, good times. Claire, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us a little bit of insight into your career. We wish you the best of luck in this tournament, and we hope that it lasts as long as possible. Once again, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Claire Bruner from West Branch signing off, and one of the great leaders. And if West Branch is going to have a successful tournament run, she's going to have to be a big part of it.
She has been all season. I mean, she talked about the ups and downs. They're still 15-5, which is, a great campaign for her senior season. 2 losses to Girard, Mass, and Washington, only going to prepare this team for the postseason. And of course, all the excitement built around tonight in the rivalry matchup.
Yeah, you play Salem for a third time, and this one, like she said, a little bit more stakes in the matchup with, going to a tournament, sectional final, trip to sectional final on the horizon for both these teams, and that's going to be a little bit more extra juice to that rivalry as well.
And when you look at their next opponent, if they get past Salem, it's Geneva, who's a beatable opponent, 15 seed. And then you're looming to Jefferson a little bit, the 5 seed, which would be a great
5
matchup.
versus 6.
Yeah, that's winnable as well. So there's a chance that we see the Warriors in the district final this year up in that Streetsboro district.
Right, and that Streetsboro district features Notre Dame Cathedral Latin on the top half of that bracket. It was them and Girard. There's the two teams that everyone kind of wanted to either pick what side of the slate they wanted to be on. Interesting that West Branch didn't go with Girard in a team they've already played.
I don't know. I think the bracket right now kind of fares in their favor.
Right.
I mean, you're going to have to play somebody good at some point.
Right. But if you would have lined up, and I haven't looked at the whole Girard bracket in a while to see what other teams would have to deal with in that one. But I was kind of
got Marlington in there,
right? So obviously it wasn't avoiding Girard. It was trying to say, let's get away from Marlington and not have to face them for a third time. Let's take our luck against Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, which it is a smart move. Marlington definitely. Not going to be any secrets between you and Marlington. And they've had your number for, like Claire said, they've had your number for 4 years now.
Yeah. She said it best. She's wanted to beat Marlington, just hasn't been able to get over the hump. They've had some competitive matches this season, but a team that's played you well in the past 3 or 4 years, you kind of want to get away from a little bit. If you have the chance to see them again, you want to see them outside the district in that regional.
That means we could very well see a Marlington Girard game, which would be very interesting.
Yeah, Marlington is 2, Girard 1. When you look at Marlington, they got the winner East and Kenston. Kenston's actually a pretty tough matchup in round number 2. They're the 4 seed. Outside of that, I think they have a chance to get to that district final. And then Girard's got Niles and then the winner of Warren, Howland, and Aurora. So, I think both the 1 and 2 seeds have a good chance to get to the final.
If Marlington didn't open your eyes before, and I think they did last week when they beat Fitch in straight sets.
Yeah, Marlington, they're 19-3 this year.
Right.
10-0 in that conference. They've beaten teams up near the Cleveland area like Hathaway Brown. Their losses are to Massillon Jackson and Archbishop Hoban.
By the way, Massillon Jackson is the 1 seed in the Division I district. So no slump there saying that we lost to the Polar Bears.
Yeah, no.
So it'll be interesting if that squares up and Marlington plays Girard in the district championship. If numbers play out, that'll be a very fun match to be at, and definitely one of the ones that would spark a lot of hype, as well as a lot of these volleyball games really would as we go forward and we look at more matchups. We're going to take another break. We'll pay some more bills. When we get back on Running Point, we'll preview the night and tell you what we have on the schedule for the night ahead. Don't go anywhere. This is Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but 2 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Clint. Hi, this is Steve Rossetto.
Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience,
WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
or visit WRSwealth.com.
Go Raiders.
Go Dogs.
Go Cats. Go Dogs. Go Tigers.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These 3 values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Mill Creek Metro Parks is your park for all seasons. Make a memory in the park. Plan your visit today at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com. Anthony Hartwig alongside Richie Giuliano as we continue into the latter half of this Wednesday episode. We want to thank Brian Tolnar and Claire Bruner for both taking the time to join us as we go into what is going on tonight as far as tournament volleyball, tournament soccer, and things of that nature as we go into the YSN scoreboard, which will be updated through the night as final scores get updated as we get them on the scoreboard tonight. It is going to be, we'll start with volleyball. We're going to have Austintown Fitch get their tournament run started against Cleveland Heights. East Liverpool has Philo, which I've always liked saying. Philo. It's a fun.
Where's that at?
I have no idea where Philo is.
Oh, no, I'm digging into that.
Ursuline will play Edgewood. That'll be a decent competitive game in tournament play. Once again, we talked about West Branch playing Salem. Mineral Ridge will host Brookfield. Garrettsville Garfield is going to be hosting Rootstown. And let's see, McDonald will host East Kent. We go to the second line of games and flip around. And Louisville will start off their tournament run with Walsh Jesuit tonight. Indian Creek will go into Beaver Local. East will play Kenston. Winner of that goes into Marlington. Champion of Liberty, which will be at Mineral Ridge, the first game of that doubleheader there. Campbell Memorial will be at United tonight, as that will be in Garrettsville Garfield, as Campbell tries to get just their second tournament win in program history. They got their first last year against United. So it'll be a rematch of last year's tournament game where Campbell came out on top. I'm sure the Eagles have that in mind as well. Oberlin will travel to Badger for the tournament as well. Some more girls playoff soccer tonight. We have a big slate of that. East Liverpool, Beaver Local, the rivalry. And we talk about West Branch, Salem meeting up in the tournament. On the girls soccer side, you have East Liverpool and Beaver Local. That is a big rivalry game with a lot on the line as well.
Yeah, it is.
We go to Hubbard and Alliance playing tonight. Jefferson will go to Canfield. Columbiana plays Poland. Cardinal Mooney will play Southeast tonight. Cornerstone Christian will play Waterloo. That game actually happened last night. Waterloo got that win 10-0 to advance 2 districts. Lakeview will play Bristol tonight. We go into the top of the line, and we have Ursuline against Salem. We have Struthers against West Branch tonight. Niles against Streetsboro. Grand Valley takes on United. Springfield will have Pymatuning Valley after they were able to beat South Range in a close game over the weekend, so that'll be their second tournament game. Badgers takes on Steubenville Central Catholic, and then Crestview will take on Champion, an MVAC rematch in the tournament. Did you ever find out where Philo is?
Yeah, so Philo is just south of Zanesville. It's actually in a kind of connecting city of Duncan Falls and Philo. So it's a smaller school, obviously. And yeah, that's definitely one I don't think I've ever heard of. So, it's down there past Zanesville. So east of Columbus, actually not that far away from where we're at right now.
So, obviously not too far from us, but far from, I guess, the centralized YSN market. But not too far from where we're at right now in East Palestine.
Philo is closer to East Liverpool than it is us. So let me look up East Liverpool to Philo High School. Well, that's pretty far, actually. I thought it'd be closer. It's not. It's 2 hours. You gotta go up the river.
2 hours. I hope that game's at either a neutral site or in East Liverpool for the Potters' sake.
Yeah, that's a lot farther than I thought. So then it's a good 2 hours and 20 minutes to here. I thought it would be a straight shoot up through like New Philly and that, but I guess not. Got to go through Cambridge and then all the way across up the river.
It is a straight shoot. It's just a long straight shoot.
Yeah.
Very long. So maybe a big road trip for East Liverpool. But I imagine with the season that East Liverpool had, that should be a game where they're able to host, I think, or at least be the higher seed, not have to go to Philo.
Yeah, I hope not.
That would be rough. Some other games I think to watch and teams to kind of keep an eye on. I think Champion versus Liberty round 3 is going to be a really good rematch in the tournament. That game's going to be in Middle Ridge. That's going to be round 3 for that one, and I'm going to be interested to see how that one goes. Obviously, another really big matchup I think is going to be Camel United. I think those two, which are actually back to back on our scoreboard on YSN, are going to be two really interesting matchups to watch.
Champion and Liberty. When you look at Champion, they just beat Liberty in 5 sets 2 weeks ago on the 6th. So this is obviously a familiar matchup. Two teams that are, kind of like one another. 11-10 Champion, 10-12 Liberty. So not one team's overpowering.
Yeah, and if things go the way that Liberty likes them to go, this one will go 5 sets.
Yeah.
So that's just the way Liberty rolls. They've had a lot of 5-set matches this year, and let's just keep it going in the tournament. And then Camel United. United is a team that I think under the radar had a pretty good season.
Yep.
I think they were kind of lost in the shuffle in the EOAC with Columbia and Southern Wellsville obviously in there. But definitely a team that is good enough to win some tournament games.
Yep.
When you look at Grace Knight and the season that she's been able to have for United, and then Taylor Cope in the middle, she's a really good middle blocker for the Eagles. Her and Kendall Brunner are going to be going at it all night.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Because Kendall Brunn has over 320 kills on the year after her regular season. And then, obviously Taylor Cope gets a lot of blocks for United. That's going to be an interesting matchup for those two. But Camel, you might not know, but if you do, if you don't, you do now. They have other weapons. They have Cyber Cross and Angelise Diaz that they go to when they get into the system. They have a setter that's a junior and already in the 1,000 assist club, and Carla Ramirez Ortiz. This is not your typical Camel volleyball program that people are used to, that before last year hadn't even won a tournament game in their program's history.
6 wins in a row for the Red Devils. So, sweeping Lowville and Cheney back to back. they've played some competitive sets over Heartland Christian and Liberty, and this is definitely a winnable game for Camel when you look at it, trying to pick up a postseason victory.
And if they win that, they go to play Berkshire, who is comparable to Garrettsville Garfield. Now, they got swept by Garrettsville Garfield the last time they played. But if you look at the set scores, all 3 sets very competitive. So when you look at it, it's a Camel team that if they win, they go to play Berkshire. They have to feel pretty confident against a Berkshire team that went to 5 against Garrettsville Garfield. Yeah. And Camel was competitive against Garrettsville Garfield. Of course, not every matchup is equal, but they have to feel pretty comfortable about their spot if they're able to win and go on to play a Berkshire team.
No doubt.
Same with Garrettsville Garfield. If they win 2 games, they would actually line up. If the numbers play out, they would get a rematch with Berkshire, who they lost to in 5. So they would feel pretty comfortable in their run to a district championship.
So I'm trying to find the bracket right now. There's so many. I'm scrambling back and forth. I can't find where they're at. Oh, here we go. So Camel and United. Berkshire is the team waiting for them in that second round. And then Willows B, Andrews Osborne, and then, Garfield. So, yeah, you're right. Camel's going to have to play either Garfield, most likely Garfield, if they get to the district semi.
Right. I was talking to Coach Allen last week. They want a rematch with Garfield in the worst way because they feel like they let some of those sets go and they feel like they're good enough to beat Garfield. They're good enough to contend with Garfield. And if you look at the set scores, like Coach Allen was saying, they lost by, 2 points, 3 points, 2 points, something like that. I don't know exactly what the scores were off the top of my head, but they were all 3 competitive sets. So I think if Camel and Garfield match up, that would be an interesting matchup, and it would guarantee a YSN team gets into the district final, which is something we all love to see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you got South Range and either South Range or LeBray is going to get into district semi. So there's on the opposite side, there's another positive. And that's Division III Medina district.
Right, which is obviously the one that Lake Catholic is in as well. They'll be looming. On the soccer field, I think very sneakily interesting game. Canfield has to contend with a scrappy Jefferson team that gave some teams a battle in the NE8. I also think Lakeview coming off the disappointing not being able to get the NE8, but still having a very good season. They can make a deep tournament run now in Division III for the first time, moving down from Division II in girls soccer. Poland followed them, though. Poland is a Division III soccer team as well. They'll play tonight against Columbiana. That should be a Poland girls team that is poised for a deep tournament run.
Poland is very good.
With Ariana Daniels, who's committed now to play college soccer, and Mary Brandt. They have a lot of good athletes.
That's very good.
Yep. They have a lot of good athletes that are kind of widely known. Don't forget about Salem. Their soccer team has a lot of great athletes. Riley Hutton headlines their soccer team. They'll be something to be heard from. But then in that EBC, it's West Branch. They want to win a district championship. They haven't lost yet this year. They have a couple of ties, but they are still undefeated and state ranked. So the Warriors are going to be looking to make a very deep tournament run.
When you look at West Branch and Salem, 2 teams that tied recently. Salem tied West Branch on the 5th before beating Boardman and then dropping to Chagrin Falls 3-0 to finish off their campaign. So, 2 good EBC schools on the girls' side, 11-3-1 Salem. And then you got West Branch, who is 12-0-3. So,
and that tie made Salem and West Branch have to share the EBC championship.
That's right.
So that was a big game for Salem to get that tie and get a piece of the the EBC championship. So those are the tournament games that are happening tonight. It should be a lot of fun. Keep an eye on our scoreboard. We'll be updating that as scores come in, and also keep an eye on the site because when stats and more information comes in, we will definitely be posting recaps of all those games as well. Also, tonight we're going to have the Fitch show from Sam Wedge's Inn with the Falcons as they'll have more great athletes from Fitch coming on with Steve Leslie and Anthony Romo. Ty, you're done at Coco's Pizza for the season, right? But you're still going to have Mike Pavlansky one more night?
I got 4 players.
4 players tonight?
Yeah.
I apologize. It wasn't in our rundown of the night, but one more night at Coco's Pizza. Who do you have coming on?
Got finishing off 28 seniors we did this year.
So you're going to have them all by the end of the night.
We got 4. Yeah, last 4. Evan Williams, 3-year member of the team, tailback. who just recently scored his first varsity touchdown against East this year. Caleb Ortiz, first-year member of the team, moved back to Canfield from Florida last year.
Wow. Why?
That's a question I'm going to ask him. That's definitely something that's on my list. Joel Mizek, who's been the kicker this year, and Ali Shalash, who's a soccer goalkeeper and also on the football team as a punter. So those are the four that are coming on. Kind of the kickers we'll have on: Ortiz from Florida, and then Evan Williams, who's been on the team for 3 years.
You can make that Salaj interview kind of a dual interview, talking about the great soccer season they're having right now as well. As the football team.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting, and you should take that kid outside and tell him, see if he regrets moving from Florida.
Ortiz is going to have to move back down after this.
Dude, do that interview.
After the football season's over.
Do that interview outside and be like, "Do you regret anything? Great. Do you regret anything now?
Do you regret your life right now?"
Oh man, moving back from Florida. Ugh, if I ever got out of the state, I'd be gone. That'll do it for Running Point. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. Power Hour has you locked in from 3 to 4. And then once again, keep an eye on our scoreboard all night. We'll have score updates from those tournament games, both girls soccer and volleyball. As the night goes on, we'll have recaps as the night goes on, and live interviews at Sam's Wedge Inn and Cuca's Pizza with Fitch and Canfield, respectively, tonight. So it should be a fun night on YSN. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. It was a great show. We'll be back tomorrow with a lot of volleyball coaches going to be pre-recorded tonight, and we'll be able to play them tomorrow for you as we talk about not just their tournament aspects and then the next round of the tournament, but we'll also be talking about the season recap and kind of what they felt like, how the season has gone. We're nearing the end of the season. Every game could be their last. So Coach Howard has been locked in from Crestview. We're going to talk to Coach Irons from South Range. We got Coach Jones from Springfield locked in. And we should have Coach Nesbitt from Canfield locked in as well for a Coach's Corner being played on tomorrow's show from 12 to 2 with me and DJ before we go on to Friday for our football preview show. So that'll be a fun time. Make sure to tune in tomorrow from 12 to 2. Once again, Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3, Power Hour 3 to 4, and scores and updates throughout the night as well as